What's going on, guys, and welcome back to DSG. And I must say, this has definitely been one of the smoothest raid releases that Glue has ever done, or maybe even just in general, their releases for any content in DSA. This has definitely been one of the smoothest. There was no hotfix, there was no game crash, and there wasn't any of that. Just a very smooth, almost seamless, pretty much seamless release of content. So taps off to Glue. You guys did a fantastic job with this. The artwork, of course, beautiful. The Titan's amazing. Just a very much well-rounded raid that we've gotten. And I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering what took you so long to make a review of the raid. Well, the reason being is because my club chose to do a tier 4 raid. Now, I may not agree with doing a tier 4 raid so early on in this situation, but it is something to keep in mind because we did do a tier 4 raid kicking off Forbidden Depths, and that was like a good, kind of tester to see where we're at. So to go to tier 4 in this sense, it wasn't like a crazy difference for us in terms of a new raid, but this raid is definitely a lot more different. It took us a lot longer. I believe Forbidden Depths, when it first came out, took us about maybe 3 or 4 days on tier 4, but this one took us a whole week, as you can tell by the date of this video. So it took a little bit longer, but at least we have one of the requirements done for the heroic raid, which is awesome. But we have 3 more raids to do, to at least have the ability to do heroics. I'm not sure if we're going to jump into heroics right away, but knowing how ambitious my club leaders are and my club is, we're probably just going to go straight into heroics after we finish those 4, if everything seems to go as planned. Because honestly, if it took us a week to do the first raid, and if we're being ambitious here, maybe the next 3 tier 4 raids will cut down 1 day. We're looking around closer to the end of the month, closer to Halloween, by the time we actually are able to do the heroic raid, or at least have the ability to. So that's kind of where my club is at right now. But let's get back to the raid. In the background, you are going to see a lot of gameplay from the various phases of the raid. Now, granted, I only had one team. Because I only had Merlin as the summoner's chosen, so I really had to be strategic with my attacks. Now, honestly, in the beginning when I was going against a Rock Titan, I didn't really know exactly which tunes I was going to use, and then eventually just kind of got into a rhythm. I was using a lot of Herc and Beast, and actually Ursula as well, and I was using Triton and Elsa, and of course Merlin was there as well. So those are the main characters to use. I think maybe a couple of the attempts I may have put, like, I think I tried out like the Calhoun Triton team that we've all used before in Forbidden Depths. So I kind of tried a variation of that, and then I just kept on trying, and by the end I was getting attempts, in 300, around there, 300k damage, which for one team is really good. I didn't have the Frozen, I didn't have Jack or any or Oogie Boogie, some of the more prominent characters, but Merlin is not a bad character by any means. Merlin's a very useful character in this raid, but just in general, I didn't have the other characters for the Summoner's Chosen. So with this one, it was much more difficult. I had to be very strategic with my attacks. I'm sure, like many of you are, you have to be strategic with your attacks as well, because if having only one Summoner's Chosen character, there's not much room to grapple with, and that's what happened with a lot of my club mates. They had maybe 1 or 2. Of course, there's the handful of those who are whales who maybe had a full set that they could use, but that's not everyone. I was very much impressed though with, I think, my performance after the whole raid went through and I just got the hang of everything. We went rock, tornado, lava, ice, which is pretty typical for everyone to go through. Now I'm kind of split between going between tornado and rock. You really need to get rid of the tenacity blocker with the rock titan in order to take care of the ice titan and basically the other titans, and tornado titans more specifically. My bad there. Order is probably going to be pretty consistent. It may not stay that way forever. By this second tier 4 raid, I should have Frozone at 7 stars and tier 7, so he'll be pretty strong. He'll be useful. I'll have his abilities up, and I'll be able to at least have 2 teams, and I'll be going Jack Skellington and get some other characters slowly but surely. But I will say that overall this raid was, I think, a much needed content release, because Forbidden Depths, was very easily found, loopholes and everything. I'm not saying that we're not going to get that with this raid. There's a lot more damage that needs to be done and needs to be shared amongst everyone. and since no one has like a Gear 9 character, to my knowledge, then we're just gonna have to band together and really just kick butt and do it as a team. So I'm pretty happy about that. Are there things, I wish they didn't do at launch? Of course there are. The whole Summoners Chosen, I think, was a great idea, but of course no one was prepared. But what it did give us was a faction that was really forgotten, now getting its spotlight. I mean, all these characters, Frozone, who was pretty much at the bottom of the barrel, no one touched them. I'm pretty sure many tier lists the other content creators made, he was at the bottom of the barrel. And you have something like Jack Skellington, you have some of these other characters like Queen of Hearts, just a lot of characters no one used, just threw them to the side. Now they have a purpose. Olaf still has to prove his point. There was a little loophole that I think some of us saw with Olaf. He just wouldn't die. If you've seen those videos where just kept getting revive. But that's the whole different story. But I'm really happy for the Mythicals faction because they're getting, I think, the attention they needed, and they're not just on the side anymore. They're given a place in the game where they can be very useful. So I'm very happy for that. These are just gonna be my initial thoughts and whatnot, and not really tips for the raid, but just my initial thoughts on the raid since we just finished it. And I do have an outro from when I recorded live when we just finished the raid and opening the pack and everything. So I'm gonna leave it to the end over here. But anyways guys, check you guys out in the next part of the video. Well, now we are at the closing part of this video of our first tier 4 raid for Trains of the Galaxy. We started this raid last Monday. Took us a full week to do it. We did tier 4 raid. I have to say, and I probably echoed this many times in the video, this raid was definitely, honestly, out of our reach. There's a lot of inefficiencies for us going for this tier 4 raid. Am I happy for the tier 4 raid rewards? Of course I am, but I know other clubs have done like 3 or 4 tier 2 raids at this point, maybe even 5, I have no clue. They've well surpassed us in terms of completing this raid, so it's a give and take. The rewards are pretty good for this tier 4 raid, but it's just that space of time and the amount of rewards you could have gotten outside of this kind of eats into that. But there's our first Zeus token, but overall, I mean, I must say that this raid was done tremendously well. The raid rewards tier 4 are well worth it. I would say it's going to be a while for clubs to really be able to do this. I know at the time of recording this, I believe COO is on their 3rd tier 4 raid. DLF is on their 2nd, maybe on their 3rd at the time of this recording, on the 11th on Monday. And we just finished our first raid overall of Siege on Olympus, and we're probably just gonna go straight into tier 4 again. Probably gonna switch it up so that we can get towards the heroics. But this month, if we can get maybe 5 tier 4 raids going, that would be awesome. I know I'll be able to contribute more this next raid because I am gonna have Frozone done, so I'll be able to contribute more. In total here, you can see the kind of damage that we did. I only had Merlin, so I was only do 1 real solid run attempt at any given time during each refresh. So over 7 refreshes, I did 2.05 million damage, which for Forbidden Depths would have been like a good chunk of that raid already. Damage is incredible. The amount that it is needed to take out these raid bosses is, bar none. I think I was on stream, and if you took the amount, like I think of even just these 2 or maybe even these 3, that is like literally the entire damage needed for the Forbidden Depths raid to just complete that the entire raid. So definitely tier 4, a lot of damage needed. I think it's like 250 almost million damage needed. But first raid in the books. Very happy, very proud of the club. As much as I'd like for us to maybe drop down to a tier 3 raid, I don't think it's going to be in the picture. It's not in my control. So it's probably just going to be another tier 4 raid. But hey, I always look at the light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to get us closer to heroics, and we'll be able to get there faster. It's just going to take time, basically. So anyways, I think the next raid run, hopefully we can do it maybe in 6 days or 5 days, just because more and more people have been upgrading those Summoners Chosen tunes, and we've been doing a lot better throughout each day, the amount of damage output, just because every day someone's upgrading someone else. And I think that's going to be, you know, the tail of this entire raid. So anyways, thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.